What up, everybody? Welcome back to the Cafecito and Kane show. We are here to talk about the upcoming Cal game this Saturday night. Very, very late Saturday night at 10:30 Eastern to be exact. Not looking forward to that. But at the same time, I am in a weird way. So let's see how that goes. I'm not used to seeing, watching the Canes after dark, but should be a fun one. As you probably saw in the description and on Twitter, got a couple of guests with me today from the Miami Nights podcast. It's a podcast I stumbled onto not too long ago. I think those guys do great work, and I enjoy listening to their podcast. I think they have great takes. And without any further ado, let me bring those guys on.
Hello.
Jimmy.
Thanks for having us, John.
Oh, no problem. Welcome to the show. For those that may not know who you guys are, obviously I want to try to help you guys spread the word about who you guys are. If not enough people are listening, I think, any Canes content creator, I like to have them on because, we're all one family. We can all grow from this stuff. And just whoever wants to go first, you guys, tell like a little backstory of how you guys got started and everything.
Yeah, sure. I can start. So the Miami Nights pod was kind of, it became, it started last year because my brother and I, Joe, he's doing improv in New York tonight, so he can't be on. But we basically were saying, we call each other after every single game to begin with and rant and, talk about how the game went. So we're like, let's just bring it to a podcast and talk, because we had done a couple podcasts on our own that didn't have to do with the Canes over the years. And so we did that last year. We had a lot of fun with it. And then we're like, Joe and I, we're smaller guys. We never played football. Like we're golfers, golf and baseball, like those were our sports. And so we're like, we need someone who knows the X's and O's, and Kurt's a great buddy of ours. And so he's actually got the season tickets right next to us, section 343. We've had some fun times up there. Kurt was just there for the Virginia Tech game. So, so all great buddies from high school and have been, unfortunately for most of our lives, not great times for the Canes, but we love the Canes more than anything. Kurt went to Auburn. I went to UCF. I'm actually a Knight, but people just don't get it, that it's like, it does not matter if you went to the school or not. Just it runs deep. Big Canes fans here.
Yeah, it's Miami's team. Like I'm the same way. I went to FIU. So people don't get that it's a really expensive, exclusive private school. It's like you don't just walk in there.
Oh, I'm thankful that I went to a public college. And,
same. Yes, absolutely. Yeah. Kurt, what about you, man?
Yeah, it was cheaper for me to go to school out of state at Auburn than it was to go to Miami. But it's like I describe it to people down here, especially it's hard for them to grasp. Like, you went to an SEC school. My brother actually played football at Auburn. I love Auburn, cheer for Auburn real hard. To me, it's almost like Miami is my professional team. Like, I would go into school there. The love growing up a Canes fan, and coming down to games with my dad, and that was our Saturday, was watching the Canes, and it just never left. And it certainly, it's been some lean years, and so I think if it didn't leave already, it's not going to leave. It's only going to kind of elevate. But it's always been like a dream of mine to have season tickets. I think if you had told me when I was 10 I'd have season tickets, this is my 6th year, in my 20s, that's like, it's just amazing. So it's a lot of fun, man. But we love the Canes, that's for sure.
Yeah. So you were at the game Friday, right?
Yes. Yeah. I was there.
Yeah, I was there too. So I was trying to remember, when was the last time we had a home game atmosphere like that we won? And I'm not counting FSU from 2 years ago, that it was like that for like 5 minutes. I'm talking like it was there like that for the whole game, and we won. Probably the Notre Dame game. I'm trying to think, because like, even though it wasn't packed, Texas A&M last year was loud, but it was not full, like not even close. I'm trying to think of probably that 2017 year was the last time. Yeah. Or maybe FSU 2018, that big comeback. That might be the last one.
That was my thought, is the comeback.
Great game.
Being down so big at half, I can't remember if the second half, if people started to kind of leave at halftime.
I don't think so. It was still pretty full.
Good crowd. Might be that one.
Oh, I'll never forget that Michael Pickney pick, and
Oh my God.
changed on a dime. Oh, such a great game.
Oh my God. And the very next play, they hit Jeff Thomas in the corner. And
Yeah.
I felt like, because we were still down, I think, by a touchdown with that score, but I felt like the game was over. I was like, oh, we got this.
Oh, he had all the momentum, and then Cozy's pass to Brevin Jordan.
Yeah. Beautiful. But
that's why I thought Cozy was the guy.
I know.
We all did. Dude, all of us. That was Mark Richt's like top target, and he got him. And then I don't know, a lot went on there. I won't get into. But no, if you can believe it, we're almost halfway through the season, which is crazy. The season like just started, I feel like, the other day. The Florida game was like the other day to me. We're almost halfway through the season. It went by.
I know. I saw a graphic today where it's like showing like the rest of our games and all the W's. I'm like, oh my gosh, you're right. Yeah, we're like literally one game away from being halfway.
Yeah,
crazy.
Yeah, which would be sweet if we get that 6th win and go into the bye, which, by the way, is a perfectly placed bye week. Finally, we don't have it like in week 2 or something. It's right in the middle of the season. We go into the bye week 6-0. That would be sweet.
Yeah,
but so far, I'll start with you, Jimmy. So far, what are some of the things, maybe positives, that surprised you, maybe that you didn't see coming, and maybe something that's like worrying you now after watching these first 5 games?
Yeah, I mean, the obvious and clear one is like we've went so long without good quarterback play, and we expected it with Cam Ward this year, but it's just, I think it's been above anyone's expectations for this season. So I just have never had that feeling when Miami gets the ball like I've had this year, that I'm expecting us to score. I'm shocked if we don't go down and drive down the field. So that's just been it's just fun to watch our team. What I've liked a little bit better of a defensive performance last game. Yes. But I mean, it was clear domination from an offensive standpoint, other than some turnovers. Without those turnovers, just a completely different game. So I'm loving the offense in total. I guess the more surprising that it would actually be just our play calling. I think that I think this offense this offense fits Cam Ward, and it just makes sense this year. Last year, we're missing some pieces. So I just think offense has been clicking, and I've been so impressed with the play calling. I still remember, I think it was like that delayed fake handoff against UF. I can't remember. I think we ended up handing off to Fletcher. That was just I was like, all right, something's different this year with this offense. So that's been my pleasant surprise. I would say weakness. I'm going to say this, but then it might change this week because we got a player coming back. But defensive line here and there hasn't been putting the pressure that I would maybe hope. We've had some bright spots, but this was definitely like a defensive line that was advertised as, one of the top in the nation, if not the top in the nation. Getting Bain back is going to be huge. So I'm super excited. If we get, who knows nowadays with Mario, we talk about it on our podcast, Mario's the most confusing guy when it comes to injuries. I get it. It's a strategy, but it's tough as a fan because you're like, I want to believe, but he said Bain was probably going to be back and Rivers is going to be back last week. So now that Bain's coming back, I'm hoping to see the defensive line take that next step, especially against a spotty Cal offensive line from what we've seen at times.
Yeah. What about you, Kurt?
Be different from Jimmy, and Cam Ward is how great he's been, right? I mean, he's been so much better than I could have even imagined. But to me, I think the biggest surprise has been Mario's culture, how it's come together this season. And I think, it's something that we've discussed. The coaching staff seems so focused. Mario's leadership and his intensity has been another level. I mean, that I love the way they talk about, the guys practicing, and I think having the confidence to play as many different guys as we've played. I saw this week he said again, get ready to see even more players. And I think that comes from the confidence that he has and what he's built. And it's been tough to sit through Middle Tennessee State and some of these, even the Rutgers game last year. It hasn't been an easy process, but I think as surprising as Cam Ward has been, I've been even more surprised, I think, in how this season it's like everything's come together, and the staff, I think, recognized it early on, and it's kind of been like, just a full go from there. It's been awesome to see. I think my disappointment, I've been really surprised we can't establish the run. And I'm kind of concerned early in games, early in downs, first and second down. We're not running the ball very well. We're not very explosive. I think we're good in short yardage, and our offensive line is very strong. And pass pro, they've been unbelievable. And I think it might be a combination of Damian Martinez hasn't impressed me all that much, sadly. We think, Mark Fletcher is clearly clear and cut, our number one running back. And I just, it concerns me to get in as we get into conference play and we travel. We need to establish the run better, in my opinion. I hope that it just feels like we actually pass the ball to set up the run and to kind of establish ourselves. And that concerns me. And it's very surprising to me.
Do you think they're holding back a little bit as far as like play calling in the run game? Because I think they're opening it up a little more and more each week in the passing game. I think they're trying new things. I see new wrinkles every week. So that's fine. But I feel like every run is up the gut. Nothing outside, no jet sweeps, no, you try one end around with Chris Johnson, it gets like 14 yards, and then you don't see it again.
The Brashard Smith treatment. We like only use him for those end around plays, and then it's like, all right, back to the sidelines. But I mean, I'm glad we're using guys that have speed and space. But I hope that's the case, that maybe we're hiding some plays here and there. But it's kind of Mario Ball. Like that was honestly before this season, that was my fear, was like, okay, we have Cam Ward, but are we just going to be running it up the gut the whole time? But clearly, we've emphasized the passing game, and so I've liked that. But Mario Ball's running it up the middle, and so I don't know if we're going to see anything different than that.
I think there's a little something left that they're not, something a little left in the tank that they're not showing. I'm hoping that's the case, because that's also Mario's MO. He saves things for the big games. He was doing that last year, but then the season went off the rails mid-season, so we never really got to do that. But
yeah. And you got to think now, who are we saving it for? Because our schedule, probably like a Louisville, maybe, like our schedule is not necessarily what we maybe expected it to be in some retrospect. Like that FSU game is always going to be a tough game, but it's definitely, I think we can just win with pure talent in that game, rather than, maybe needing to hide something from them. They're just in shambles over there. So yeah.
Oh, we'll get into them in a second. But my point is, like, for example, the second or third touchdown against Florida was that beautiful, like, where Sam Brown pulled around and he got that lead block on that one dude, and Fletcher walked in. I'm like, I feel like there's a lot more of that from what I heard in practice and things like that. I'm like, there's more diversity to this run game. If they wanted to, it's there. I just don't. I feel like Ruben Bain, again, this is just my gut, like, again, from things I read and whatever, I think Bain and Rivers could have played if Mario really wanted them to. I think he's just really being careful.
Yeah.
With a lot of things. He's like, look, if I don't need to use it and I can still get the win, I'm not going to do it. I'm saving them. I think that's his attitude a lot of the time.
I like that. What do you think about another thing that we brought up this week is we're not running bubble screens. I mean, I think in the past we started to complain because it was so many. On every third down was a tunnel screen, every first down was a bubble screen, and we haven't seen any of that. I think I completely buy that. I'll buy into that, and I'll agree with you. I think that it's like fingers crossed, but I have to believe. I've been so impressed with Shannon Dawson this year. And how creative he's been, how he uses our running backs all so differently, that, I'm with you. I hope that we see it, though, because I don't want to drop one of these. I mean, the line, the spread has plummeted for the Cal game. And listen, it's not that in itself isn't going to scare me from thinking that we're going to win this game, but I
You
think
are a
it's
little
time.
nervous
We
though,
can't
Kurt.
take it for granted. We can't. I am. We can't take these games for granted.
No.
Yeah. Oh, I'm the same way. I'm a little nervous for every game.
Yeah, I mean, it's just we've been conditioned to
Scar tissue.
like I said with that Virginia Tech game, when the quarterback, when he threw that ball, that Hail Mary, like I was expecting them to catch it. I'm like, this is how this would end. Like it's not like, oh, this is gonna be a miracle if he catches it. I'm like, I'm expecting this guy to catch us, and I'm gonna be shocked if he doesn't. And
to me, I felt kind of not like that, but it was like 50-50. I'm like, if we don't make a play on this ball, he's going to catch it.
Right.
Because it's supposedly, Hail Mary's work one out of every how many times. And I'm like, nope, with us, this is 50-50. This is a coin flip.
Yeah. It was perfectly thrown. And from a quarterback that like came into the game, he has like a 48% completion percentage. And the guy just throws the absolute dime, the most perfect Hail Mary pass you can ever have.
Yeah. You know what, though? I feel like that was the Chiron drones that I was expecting to see this year. And that was the Virginia Tech team I was expecting to see this year. Because they do this every year. For like 20 years, Virginia Tech has a weird early season loss against like Old Dominion or something.
Yeah. Old Dominion always gives them a run.
Yeah. And then they get into ACC play, and then they go against us, and we're like, they're 3-3. And they look like Vatek of old, always.
Yeah.
So was I expecting a 2-touchdown victory? Yeah, but I also was like, hey, this game's not going to be that easy as people were thinking. But
yeah, I think that's going to be a bowl eligible team for sure. Like they're a better team than what they've shown, and like Rutgers is actually turning out to be a pretty decent team this season.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, I don't know. I think they're actually going to be a good squad if Jones keeps playing like how he was.
Yeah. So we're through the Vatek game, got our first ACC win, which was a huge monkey off our back, getting, starting an ACC schedule 1-0. We hadn't done that in like 4 years or something. And
really, I didn't even know that stat.
I think 2020 was the last time we won our conference opener.
God, it's tough.
Yeah. So we got over that little hump. Starting 1-0 in the conference is huge, especially now with the playoff format. But yeah, you look at the rest of the schedule. You got Cal, very winnable game we should win. Bye week, perfectly placed. Then you got Louisville, then FSU, and the last few games after that. I'll start with you, Kurt. The last 7 games, I'm sure you guys have looked at it, now that you have an idea of how the teams look. Who on that team scares you, if anybody? Like, are you like, no, I take all of them seriously? Or are you like, I really 4 or 5 out of 7 of these should be automatic wins? Like, what are you thinking so far?
I've been on since before the Florida game, our first episode. The Syracuse game to me feels like a classic. Mm-hmm. We've had a great season. We go on the road our 12th game, and we play against a team who's got a new head coach that's brought a lot of energy into that school, that's got a good quarterback, that has a legitimate pedigree. And I think through like the first 2 weeks of the season, it was kind of like, see, like Syracuse is pretty good. And I don't know what's happened in the last week or two. They don't look quite as strong. And but I'm still going to hang on. I just think that last game, if we have, the conference championship game clinched, we're going to be playing in Charlotte. It's just, it feels like that classic potential letdown game. Because McCord is a good player. They were very good against Georgia Tech, and that's been my one.
Yeah, tough environment.
Listen, the Carrier Dome, I can't get past that one. I think I don't really take Duke I don't take Duke very serious. And Louisville is a good team. Going on the road there is certainly not going to be an easy one, but all these other, I think I expect us to roll, and that one just seems like it's gonna get us.
Yeah, it feels like a 2017 Pitt when we faced a freshman Kenny Pickett.
That's probably what I can't get out of my mind, right? I mean,
Yeah. No, and Duke, you bring up a good point. So you're not buying Duke's 5-0 start.
I really don't. I think North Carolina stinks.
They do.
I just
Or
I
is
think
JMU that good? Because they put a whooping on who they played this past week, Ball
JMU's
State.
got a nice quarterback, man. They're not bad, but to let them drop 70 on you and be
70.
your house, that's
70
no,
points.
that's fireable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not buying Duke.
Yeah. No, and they had a really close game. I think an overtime game against UConn, if I'm not mistaken. So, like, yeah, they're 5-0, but it's like, I don't know, by the skin of their teeth. Jimmy,
They beat Northwestern in double overtime.
Yeah, so Syracuse was one. That was when we previewed our season, and that was the one I talked about with Kurt. That one scares me. Other than this weekend, because obviously, like, this is like it's game day, first ever game, ACC opener for Cal, or ACC home opener for Cal. It's got all of like I just expect Cal to come out so hot, and I think it just kind of needs to be almost like the USF treatment, but we just need to calm down like we did against USF. Is like, they're going to be hyped. They're going to come out hot. They're going to throw some tricks at us. Every team is throwing tricks at us. We just need to expect it. And then we just need to, weather the storm and pull away once the game gets going. So other than this weekend, I was actually going to say Duke, because I think it's the week after the FSU game. And it's like, you get so hyped for that. And especially if we like beat down FSU, which I would hope we do, but you just never know with that game. It just does make me nervous because Manny's coming back. He's got some animosity probably towards us, and they might still be undefeated at that point. I need to look at their schedule. I don't know. That is and maybe it's like the PTSD from being a Hurricanes fan. That is the game we normally will lose. Is like, oh, we just beat our rival. Everything's feeling good.
Right.
There's this like extra little bit, like it was always like Mac Brown with Manny. Like that was like the extra, storyline going on. And I see us losing that game with past teams. Maybe not now, but I would say that game actually does make me nervous.
It makes me nervous, I'll be honest with you, because, Manny being here, I know how aggressive he is blitzing. And if he would have those occasional games where his defense is just in a rhythm and the
Right.
other offense just cannot figure out where the blitz is coming from, and they just wreak havoc. Their offense, I mean, they got a couple of guys that if they just, don't let them go off, I think we'll be okay. But yeah, that defense just getting after Cam Ward, maybe they find a little wrinkle or they find a little weakness. That does make me a little nervous. I'm not going to lie, but
yeah, would love to have Rivers back at that point.
I think he'll be back sooner than later. I'm not too concerned about him. But on the flip side of that, knowing Manny, if you find a certain play that gashes his defense, you could just do it over and over and over again. He's not going to figure it out.
Yeah, it was like the 500-yard rushing UNC game. Like if you can, whatever that
500, like 900.
Yeah, it was just like it was like every play was like a 30-yard run.
It was 500 like at the half.
Yeah, God. Yeah. That if you can find that, it gets ugly real quick. It's either Notre Dame game or it's the UNC game. When we're talking about Manny's D.
Exactly. But yeah, Muhammad brings up a good point. Bain is back this week. That is, I know what you're saying, we'll see when it comes to Mario. The way he said it,
it did seem more confident. It was like more explicit.
He was like, yeah, he's ready.
And I saw some players commenting on it. So I would be like really upset if he wasn't there.
Playing Time says, I stand by my statement. If we lose to Duke, I'm never donating another cent to the school.
We say that every season.
If we lose the Manny Diaz Bowl, that loss would pay. I'd be genuinely angry, not sad. I've been sad, but that would make me actually angry.
You think he would light up another stogie like he did against UNC?
Yeah.
I think he would.
100%.
All right, so yeah, of the games left for me, I mean, Louisville still scares the hell out of me, just because of their play calling, and it's probably going to be a night game and all that stuff. It's going to be ranked opponent versus ranked opponent, hands down the best team we faced so far.
Agreed. Yeah,
and hopefully we shouldn't be looking ahead because there's a bye week in between. And I feel like, but I don't know, I feel like we're due to break that bye week curse because I was
just about to bring that curse up. Yeah.
We haven't won coming off of bye week in what seems like since the Mark Richt days.
Yeah.
And I think I'm not lying when I say that. Like that, I think that's the last time we did. But anyway, you brought up a good point earlier about FSU. That is a game coming up on the schedule still. We still got to play them. And yeah, they're probably going to play us tough. Do you see that going like the way it did in 2020, that we just blew their doors off out of the gate? Or do you see it going more like, like last year that, we weren't supposed to hang with them, but we did? How do you see that going?
You want to go first, Kurt?
Yeah.
You know what? I think like I don't think I could picture myself going into that week thinking we're going to win by 40. I think I want to be pleasantly surprised by stepping on them early and keeping the pedal down. But I mean, I will say, like, if DJ's not going to play, that kind of makes me sad because I really wanted to kind of rough him up a little bit. I guess it's become easy.
I'm
to
sad he's
pick
not
on
playing
him.
against Clemson. That was going to be entertaining.
Yeah, dude, listen, I think Brock Glenn, he came in against SMU. He was 0 for 4, right? Like he didn't complete a pass. They posted the video today of Norvell doing the run, and like a quarter of
guy.
the
Oh my
team
God.
did it today.
I like
or
felt
maybe
bad for
less.
him.
Yeah. It is sad.
His energy's not there. I think it's going to be a first quarter game where in the first quarter that it's going to be a premium. Maybe even the first drive is like establishing ourselves and saying you're not going to hang with us. That'll be what I'm looking for against Florida State. But going into that week, it's going to be hard for me to think that I've seen us hang with them. When the Dalvin Cook and Jameis Winston years, I mean, we had them on the ropes a number of times, and just when we had no business, being on the field with them, sadly. But it's one of those games. It maybe it's not deciding who's going to the national championship anymore, but it's had implications for one team at least, and it's Miami FSU. I mean, I'm going to be nervous that week.
Yeah, I'll bring up one counterpoint to that, just because I agree in the same sense, Kurt, of like, because it's a rivalry game, like we know these, like, yeah, I remember what was the year we were in the gray jerseys and like orange helmet, and
oh my gosh,
and like we
what if
really
he did us
didn't.
so dirty?
Kai was a true freshman, I think. Like we didn't really have any business being in that game, but we actually should have won.
2014, we were up.
Yeah.
I'll tell you the score. We were up 23-7 at one point. We were up by 16. I remember that.
And our tight end fumbled.
The tight end, Standish Dobart, I think.
Yes.
He got the ball punched out from behind. And I saw it coming too. The way he was holding the ball, I'm like, tighten that up, tuck that away, and popped it right out.
And the game shifted. So that was like, that was a year that it was like, they were a better team than us, but we actually probably could have won that game. But I will say the difference now is I just don't think these FSU players, they don't bleed garnet and gold. Like they are mercenaries. They are transfer portal players. And we're talking about a game that's like 3 games from now. And so the quitting, I think we already kind of starting to see. And I think it's going to only be exemplified once we get to October, was it 25th or 26th? So
26.
That's the only thing that brings you to, like, we could just run it up on them, because that team, like, half those guys don't give a rip about the Miami FSU rivalry, because, they're either not from Florida. They just don't care anymore. They got their NIL payment. They're just trying to get to the draft now.
Yeah. And, dude, and I got to credit my co-host Flo on the Miami Flow show. He's been calling this for like over a year.
Really?
Like, yeah, he's been saying, dude, I don't like the culture there. They're not developing guys. Like, what people are saying now, he was saying a year ago. So I got to give him credit.
I do too, because I was actually like, Norvell is doing a great job, and like I was impressed with him, frankly, for what he did with Jordan Travis and everything. Like I was high on Norvell. He
did a good job with Jordan Travis. I'll give him that. But my God, the recruiting's okay. But not to like where FSU should be. You know what I mean? Like, in the 20s.
Just lost a 4-star receiver. like 20
just lost a 4-star receiver. Yeah, and they're going to lose more guys the way this is going. I mean, unless they're paying them fat NIL deals just to stay, just to keep their commitment. But yeah, I just wanted to touch on them a little bit because
I would love another 52-10. I'm sad that the stadium was like empty because it was 2020 when that happened. That was a great
robbed
game.
of that. Yes, there was like 17 people in the stands because that's all they allowed in.
Yeah.
I remember watching it at my brother's house. I'm like, we should be there, man.
Like, we were there, and it was still. I mean, like we were on cloud nine. We're like, this is great, but it still just would have been even better to have a whole crew there.
Oh yeah, even though I mean, who knows if it's going to be at night or they're so bad it might be like a 3:30 game, but. Right. I still think it's going to be packed and it's going to be electric. Yeah. But this Cal game, we'll finish with this and our predictions for the Cal game and everything. But I look at this opponent. I look, they got Fernando Mendoza, Miami kid, Columbus kid.
Couldn't be nicer. I was watching an interview of him today.
Great kid, super respectful. Yeah. I think he even went out of his way to said he will not throw the U down.
Yeah.
Like, he grew up here. Sure he grew up watching the Canes. So, and he's a solid quarterback. I like him a lot. And here's the thing, though. He's not Kyron Jones athletically. He's been sacked 16 times. So the offensive line has some holes in it that I hope we take advantage of. Mm-hmm. I really do, because VT had supposedly a horrible run defense and we couldn't do anything to them. So hopefully we actually exploit a team's obvious weakness this time. And I just feel like if Cam just like takes the check down and just dumps it off on those plays where he's not sure or he's trying to fit it into a tight window, just dump it off. Let Chris Johnson, let these guys make plays in space, and we'll boat race them.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, we boat race Virginia Tech if he doesn't make a couple of those turnovers.
Yes.
Yeah, we go up 21-7. I mean, bad holding call, but yeah, if he can protect the ball. It's also a double-edged sword, though. We talked about this. Like, if Cam Ward doesn't, if he like shuts his brain off where it's like, okay, the play can be over, I don't know if that play to Riley Williams at the end of the Virginia Tech game happens. Maybe he just takes the sack and doesn't do that chest pass to Riley Williams and put us on the 1 yard line. So it's almost like you know, there's going to be some great moments, but there's going to be those bad moments where you're like, just throw it out or just fall. Like, I don't know what you think about that. It's like, I wish it would be like a perfect world where he could do both, but it's almost like maybe we just have to accept that that's always going to be a part of his game.
Yeah, he's a gunslinger.
Yeah.
But I guess as long as he just knows the situation, if it's early in the game, it's your first drive, it's your second drive, take the sack, whatever.
Yeah.
We'll score on the next drive. It's fine.
Yeah. And that was what Joe brought. And that's a good point. Like, you make that play in the fourth quarter where you do the chest pass, but you don't necessarily need to do that in the first quarter when stuff can shift. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. What
about you? I mean, when I hear like take the sack and it's like, we've had Tyler Van Dyke and even Brad Kaya. I feel like Brad Kaya wasn't aggressive. He had a great, the guy wasn't athletic. He couldn't move, but he had a great arm. I think what Jimmy was trying to get at is like, and that's where I want to go with it, is like you live with some of the bad. I think with him, we've seen it's going to be a lot of really, really good. And at the end of the day, that aggression is what's going to put us over the top. I mean, that's what you see with the Johnny Manziels. And, I think the rest of this team, I just think I want to see him be aggressive. And I've been so impressed by his brain, by him in the pre-snap. I think his combination of talent and instincts and the work that he obviously puts in is unbelievable to me. I've just been so impressed by that. So I think he's prepared enough to be aggressive when he needs to. I don't want him to stop. I want it. I mean, listen, we're the Canes. We're gonna do it the flashy way. Where listen, again, there's gonna be a little bit of bad, but I think it's gonna be a lot of good. And I think that fits us and our culture so well.
Yeah, and that quality is what a quarterback who could throw a team on his back has.
Mhm.
Because you guys mentioned, the Kayas, the Morrises, they were good quarterbacks, but it's like when the play broke down and it was like time to improvise, throw the team on your back. They're like, all right, I mean, Stephen Morris did it once or twice, but like to do it
We're a
consistently.
big Stephen Morris podcast, by the way. I think we absolutely love Stephen Morris.
We
He
took,
was
we
awesome.
took him a little bit for granted, I think. He had some good with Jed Fish offense. It was money.
Oh, no, look, he had an NFL arm.
Yeah.
For sure.
Mhm.
He had an NFL arm. He was somewhat, he had some athleticism. I liked Stephen Morris a lot. He played most of 2013 with the bad Achilles.
Yeah.
That's somebody
he wasn't good. He wasn't healthy.
He wasn't healthy. He should have taken a couple weeks off. I thought they should have put Ryan Williams in, but one of many ways Al Golden mismanaged that team.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is those guys, except for maybe De'Aaron King, I can't think of another quarterback. Like you have to go back to like Brock Berlin. That's like a true leader. That's like everything else is failing. Things just were not in rhythm. But you know what? In the fourth quarter, he's got us. He's going to find a way to.
Yeah. And what have like our most fun teams been like in the past, 5-6 years has been with these quarterbacks that can do that are the leaders like De'Aaron King, Cam Ward. And it's just, I'm just sitting here trying to enjoy it. I try not to think about that he's gone next year.
Yeah. But hey, you put in a good season. You put in a good season with him next year. The chances of getting another one are high.
Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So prediction time.
Well, so with that, like, do you think like a little bit of that is I got tired of this summer hearing like the Mario being a quarterback killer thing, and I think like 100% right there is us putting Cam Ward out here and saying like, look, it's a false narrative. I think it sets us up for more success down the road.
Yeah, that man's leading the nation in many passing categories right now.
Yeah, I think it's always been kind of a BS narrative because first of all, you had Justin Herbert. He'll never get any credit for Justin Herbert ever.
No.
Which is kind of convenient for your argument, but okay, whatever. And the fact that he won a conference title, might have won 2 conference titles at FIU, which is insane to begin with. I think people don't take the time to realize that. Didn't really have a quarterback there, let's be honest with you. And then to win or to make it to the Pac-12 championship game his final year with Oregon without a quarterback, that was the first year after Herbert. I think that speaks to, him being a program builder and a culture guy.
Yeah.
That even in spite of not having a quarterback in today's football where you need one, he was able to win 10 games.
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
I think all that should be talked about. He had some bad OC hires in the past, and sometimes a lot of it sometimes is luck. You just got to make the good hire. I mean, who would have thought hiring Josh Gaddis would have been like the worst OC hire?
We were so excited about it. We were so happy.
Yeah.
It was like Enos. Like we were like, Bama hire.
Man,
Look
Enos,
at this. Saban didn't even know he was gone. And
Yeah,
man. So,
but Shannon Doss has been great.
The VTech game, he really impressed me. He really impressed me. But anyways, prediction time for the Cal game. So I'll start with you, Kurt, then we'll go to Jimmy. Do you have a score prediction for Saturday's game?
I didn't let the intrusive thoughts win last week leading up for Virginia Tech. And I thought, you know what? Scar tissue be damned. I think we're going to blow them out. And I had that little voice in the back of my head. I was like, I don't know. It's Friday night, first ACC game. And obviously, it played out the way it did. And I just think this week, I just want to get to the bye week. And my score prediction is 20 yesterday or the other day on the pod, it was 27-21. And I don't like to waffle off of that. I'm going to stick with it. I love having Bain back. I'm very excited. I think we can absolutely get after Cal. And, I think not establishing the run, in a dominant fashion in the first half of these games, not being explosive in the running game. I would like to see us switch it up a little bit, and I'd like to see a little bit of Jordan Lyle early in the game. I'd like to see more Fletcher and AJ Allen. I haven't been that impressed with Damian Williams, and
Martinez.
maybe he's our goal line, maybe Damian Martinez, and maybe he's our goal line guy, and that's fine if that's his role. I mean, he's awesome at that. But the run is concerning me, and I think Cal being, I completely agree with Jimmy. They're going to be excited, they're going to be aggressive, and I think, um, I just think it might bite us a little bit, and I think that we're going to get off to a little bit of a slow start here. And I think that we're learning how to win and how to deal with this being shoved into the spotlight as well. And I don't think it's a bad thing if we claw out this game and we scrap it out, and as long as we win, right? You just got to keep winning. That's what it's all about. And I think going into the bye week, a win is huge, no matter what it is. But I think it's going to be a close. I think it's going to be an uncomfortable and a late night on Saturday.
This podcast name is perfect for this because you're gonna need a lot of cafecito for that 10:30 p.m.
Yes.
kick.
Yeah, Jimmy, what about you?
Yeah, so I went a little more aggressive with my score prediction. I've yet to see a defense that has stopped our offense. Like I haven't seen a weakness other than some turnovers last game, and we still almost put up 40 plus points. And like if there wasn't that phantom hold call, we do put up 40 plus points.
Mm-hmm.
So and as I've watched some more of Cal's highlights, the only thing it does make it interesting with them is like they have a pretty decent offense. Like the 14-9 score is kind of like interesting with the FSU game. I think that's what it ended. They didn't score a touchdown, but they had a lot of yards, and they've struggled to finish. So I'm nervous that maybe something will click and they'll like finally figure out how to finish. And Cal, they've missed a ton of field goals this season. So the ball's moving.
Kickers don't miss against us, though.
Yeah, exactly. You got to expect it. Like we're setting records over here. This guy's going to play the game of his life. We have to expect that. So I think they're going to score some points on us. Defense has looked a little bit shoddy. I'm excited about Bain coming back, but I'm going to say 42-21. So I do think we win by 3 touchdowns, and I think we put up 40 plus. But they're going to score. They're going to score a couple. I imagine most of that 21 coming in the first half. Like I said, I'm expecting a similar vibe of the USF game with how that one played out.
Yeah. So I have it 38-24. Only because I am factoring in the time change, and I think that will affect them a little bit. It'll take them a minute to get their footing. They might score on us early. Our secondary is a little banged up,
Yeah.
So I think they're going to score a little bit, and there's no way they don't hit a 60-yard field goal because it seems like everybody does against us. So I have them at 24, and I have us at 38. Maybe I'll be conservative and say 38, but I think a lot like the USF game. Maybe they go up 7-0 early, but the way the VTech game went, it was 7-7, then 14-7, and then we were a bad penalty away from making it 21-7. I think it may start like that, and then we just kind of stay ahead by a couple scores, and they don't really threaten us after that. We start getting after their quarterback, because once you have a 2-touchdown lead, they have to be one-dimensional, and that's where I think our defense will start to tee off on them. But yeah, that's where I see it going. Yeah, the spread right now is 10.5. I'm seeing on Hard Rock Bet. I'm a little surprised it's that low. I'm like, that's just a touchdown on a field goal. That's not much.
Yeah, and Kurt, what was it on Sunday? You had it on Sunday?
Yeah, I mean, it opened at 14, maybe even 14 and a half on Sunday morning.
So they're liking Cal.
They're liking Cal, and I will say this. What's the kid's name? Is it Javian Martin? They have a running back that's really Javian Thomas.
Oh,
he's averaging like 7 yards a carry. So like
we got to see better linebacker play this game.
Yes, better tackling. If you can get him to the ground, you don't let their running backs gash you for 20, 30, 40 yards, you'll be fine. Just keep the big plays to a minimum. What happened against VT? You had Byshell Tootin running for a 70-yard touchdown. Eliminate those huge plays. I think we're okay. But boys, I appreciate you guys coming on.
Thanks for having us. Yeah,
our pleasure. Looking forward to a game with no upside down U's.
Yeah,
it's gonna be a nice watch.
It's it's gonna be nice.
I think
Nice
it's gonna be as respectful as it's been on Twitter so far.
Yeah.
Cal's like, oh, Miami's been so nice. I'm like, what is going on?
I'll take it.
I've never heard that
Well,
before.
you know what? They weren't picking any fights with us on Twitter, so we return it. We'll come after you if you're talking a bunch of smack like USF was. Like that was
that was so wild.
That was wild, and then they went super quiet afterwards. But no, please, guys, plug what you guys got going on, where they can find your channel, how often you guys are on, and all that stuff.
Yeah, so we normally will record on Sundays, release on Mondays. At Miami Nights Pod is our Twitter. We want to get on YouTube. I think like I always have the videos. I'm just like I haven't been posting them. So maybe we'll see some YouTube in the future. But yeah, mostly Twitter at Miami Nights Pod. And then wherever you get your podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify. I think I don't even know if Google plays a thing anymore, but we're out there. So yeah, give us a listen, subscribe. Yeah, happy to be here. Thanks so much for having us.
Oh, anytime, man.
We'll to get together at a game coming up. For sure.
Yeah, for sure, man. But and it's Miami Nights without a K, right? It's Miami NIGH.
Yeah, but maybe I should claim we should have done that. That's actually a genius idea.
The UCF nod.
But no, we're the worst alumni ever for UCF. So no, we went to more Miami games when we were students there, and I was there for that 2017 season, and we were over at the Miami games rather than at the old bounce house at UCF.
That must have been fun when Scott Frost was there. I'm not gonna lie.
I thought
cool to catch a game.
I thought that man was Jesus Christ in coaching form. Like I thought I was at the season we didn't win a game. And then to see that 2 years later with what he did with that program, it was unbelievable. I'm shocked with how it turned out with him at Nebraska. Yeah, that man, he knew his stuff. Mackenzie Milton was unbelievable.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah.
But anyways, I'll let you guys go. We got 84 in the chat right now. So, please like and subscribe. Go to Spotify, wherever you find podcasts, find the Miami Nights Pod. They do great stuff. And you guys are on Twitter as well. X. I'm not used to it.
I still go Twitter.
Yeah. Go find them. And as always, you know what it's about. It's all about that you.
All about
Go Canes, baby.